So we're coming into the hot seat. We always have a hot seat, and this month's hot seat is actually one of our conference presenters. This is Ian. Hello, Ian. You on with us today? I hope. I saw your name popping up before. Ian took to the stage for the first time, PMO Conference, talking about his experiences at Virgin Media O2. From people that are not aware, those two companies came together. As you can see behind that big picture behind him, it says Giants Merge. And so we just thought we'd get Ian on for the hot seat, just to find out a little bit more about how it went for him, and yeah, just understand some of the key themes. So Ian, you with us?
Well, I think I am. I can see myself screen, so
there you are. So how are you? Have you come down from being on the central stage, telling everybody about your experience?
I came down very quickly straight afterwards. It's fine.
How was it for you? Because
no, it was okay. It was hard because the tough thing about the big room is that people naturally sit in the same seats they sat in when there were 400 people in the room. So you're talking to a massive room with around 80 people. So I was quite pleased with that. But they're dotted all over the place. You can't really see them. So that was something I've never experienced before. I'm normally in like the other sort of rooms. And there are a few technological problems, but which you can see when the video plays back. You'll see me dealing with those, struggling with them. But no, it was good, and I hope, you know, I'm very passionate about what we've done, and I hope people that either watch the video back or were there, you know, took something out of it. I did run out of time, I must admit, but you know, that's one of those things. So
let put anybody else off. You know, what we need at PMO Conference is more real stories from real practitioners. We're not looking for polished speakers. We're not looking, you know, this is about being able to get up on the stage. That's the hardest bit. And as Ian said, is that sometimes stuff's going to happen. It gets thrown at you, you know, but please don't let that put you off. But
no, I mean, most people that stand up will have stood up in the front of an audience at work, I would think. You know, I've done 50, 60, 70 people at work. It's no different. It's just a bigger room.
Yeah, you'll be surprised how many people just for the thought of doing this is absolutely, you know, way too scary. But tell us a little bit, Ian, about what some of the key themes were from your, you know, we knew from Antonio, it's all about, you know, there's going to be lots of change, lots of transformation. You've just been through one of the biggest changes, transformations of bringing two giants together. What's your lessons, or what was the key themes from the presentation?
From overall the event, you know, we started looking at AI seriously this year. So you know, during that first year where I said we brought the systems together, that's great, because we then threw out about, I can't remember what it was, 11 systems. So we were down to 3, and then we had an integration strategy. And once you're integrated, you can start building automation. Off automation, you can start to get to machine learning, you know, and that is the kind of road and the journey towards AI. So this year we're looking to develop more AI thinking over and above, and develop our machine learning that we do between the different systems we've integrated. I mean, we use Google Cloud platform for our analytics, where we've just started using that. And that's a massive big data engine. So we're getting into big data as well. But it, you know, to anyone, it doesn't just happen. AI, you know, to get to AI, you have to go through those steps I've just explained, and that takes time, and it builds and it builds. So I found the AI session was interesting, the one I went to, and the keynote was the other big one for me, because it just completely chimed with where my head's been for probably at least 8 years. You know, companies try and do too much. You know, there's always kind of a political bum fight. Everyone's projects are the most important projects in the world, so you need really good portfolio prioritization, and actually less is more. And you know, as project leaders, it's really hard to get that message across. I'm really lucky. I work for an amazing boss who's absolutely brilliant. She really gets project management, and we are completely aligned. When I went to be interviewed for my original role with her of 4 years ago now, one of the things I said was, I actually already interviewed you. If I didn't like what you said about PMOs, I wouldn't have applied for the job, because you know, if you don't get on with your boss and she thinks PMOs are all about control and administration, that's not the boss for me. So that was really good. I think, yeah, that's probably it. They were the key things. You know, as I said, everything that was said in that first keynote that kicked off the conference was just spot on with my thinking. I was just sitting there smiling, making notes, thinking, I've been saying this for years.
But you touched the stage to tell us about your role in, you know, the two companies coming together, which I said, do you remember, is, you know, you've obviously both on both sides had some great PMO people. How do you bring them together? How do you know, from a PMO point of view, tell us about the merger.
So, you know, if you watch it back, you'll see there was a timeline and the things we went through. So very in these situations, it's very you've still got two PMOs running two different ways of organisation, and you've still got to see out that year's plans. So for 21, we still had a Virgin Media and an O2 separate roadmap and separate plan to deliver using the methodologies, etc., and the people that were in place for that. Just before Christmas, the new organisation, from my point of view, was stood up. And you know, really, the first thing I did was I'd only been allowed to meet 2 or 3 people in the other side, and then all of a sudden I'm in charge of 30-something people, and there's about 15 of them I've never met. So we did a couple of calls in the run up to Christmas to introduce, explain what was going on. Basically, it's just standard projects, well, not project stuff, standard stuff where you set the goals and the objectives in the short term. You know, and we had that short-term objective, which was, let's bring everything together as soon as possible. So we're not working in two different manners with 2 different sets of systems and all of that, what that creates is a problem. And that's what I said, by the 14th of March, which is pretty good going, it's 10 weeks really, we'd put the new way of working in. And then we went into a couple of weeks of stabilization with daily surgeries. I think we had 2 or 3 options for people every single day where they could drop in and ask questions if they weren't sure about the changes. And then after that, in the beginning of April, we pushed all of the ideas that we'd had that where things might not work into a Jira board, split them across the type of things that we needed to do, and we started a kind of, call it DevOps, shall we? Our own DevOps. I call it DaveOps because the manager of that particular part of the team is called Dave. And Dave will do a 1-week sprint or a 6-week sprint, really depending on what we're trying to do. So there is no real, it's very flexible, let's just say that. But yeah, it was about bringing them together and giving them that common purpose, which we got very quickly. And then I'm lucky, I've got 4 senior leaders that work for me as well. So they are then leading down into their teams, and again building the individual teams up, and at the same time my role is more around bringing the 4 teams together. And so and operating as one overall team. And you know, been lots of change. The original organization doesn't look much like it does now because we've done so many tweaks to it to basically improve services, change services, take on extra work, you know, lose certain things that are no longer needed. And
yeah, sounds brilliant. Don't give any more secrets away, because you can go and have a look at this session in the library, and I'm looking forward to getting around to getting that into the library, going through it myself and looking at some of the key lessons and things that have come out of it. It's a great story. It's got a lot of things, different things in there that I think most PMOs, it's like not having that opportunity to be in a role like that where you're bringing 2 big companies together. But I think you can certainly take bits and pieces away from what it is that you're doing. And of course, from you know, I know Ian's obviously very passionate about the PMO stuff. Make sure he's in your network. Ian's a lovely fella, more than happy to share some of his insights. I know that, and you know, please do make sure you reach out and connect with him. So Ian, I just want to thank you very much for taking part in this.
I've just realised about time I changed that photo, isn't it? I look about 10 there.
I didn't want to say, you know, whatever. But yeah, thanks very much for doing the conference and dropping in today and telling us more about it. So we're now.